내 이름 로기환입니다.
Netflix put a lot of effort into their South Korean series, but we get very few South Korean movies. But when we do get them, I'm always interested to see which way they're going to go. Is it going to be like heavy drama? Is it going to be like that monster sort of sci-fi fiction, outlandish? It seems that it teeters between the two. This time round, we've got a pretty heavy drama, but it is worth your time. Let's talk about it. After defecting from North Korea, Loh Kiwan struggles to obtain refugee status in Belgium, where he encounters a dejected woman who has lost all hope. So when I say this film is heavy, that is an understatement. It's one of these films where you have to go on this journey with this character that's trying to escape where he's coming from, because if he stays there, he's gonna die. And so he goes to a new world, which is Belgium, new world to him, and he's the fish out of water. He doesn't speak the language. There's barely anybody to help him in, and he's kind of spent everything he has, everything he owns, to kind of get to this new land, and then trying to get refugee status, or just some sort of status that he's escaping from. To prove that enters to be quite hard. So he ends up spending a number of months on the streets, and that is where our story encounters another female protagonist, multiple protagonists that end up intertwining with our Loh Kiwan character. And I have to say, the acting performances here are phenomenal. They're really good. Joong-ki, who plays Loh Kiwan, he has this very endearing way of you rooting for him, even though he's definitely the underdog. And I think it's pretty easy, well, if you have a heart, to root for the underdog. And that's what I was doing here the whole time. But it also reminded me of that Will Smith film where he's trying to make something of his life. He ends up with his, I think it's called The Pursuit of Happiness. He ends up with his son in the bathroom stall, and it's just devastating in places. But you have to sit through those devastating moments, go through the hardship of life, and watch a character continue to pursue the willingness to survive and actually just to live. Like at the stage he's in, when he's in those moments, having the willpower to carry on just for the next hour or the day. I think a lot of people can relate to that. Sometimes life just sucks and it's really hard, and you gotta ask yourself, why do I have to keep going? And that's kind of what this film brings to light. Like people that have experienced this type of world, homelessness, starving, next to nothing, no friends, don't know the culture, like this is a tough watch. But as he starts integrating himself and building a life, building some friendships, he finds he's not the only one struggling. And that's where this film shines, because we get introduced to a number of characters, some who are seemingly bad on the surface but have a multitude of layers. And that's what I liked about this film, is that the characters are, like, they're in depth. They're characters that you get to know, that you get to understand through the story, not doing exposition, but you kind of figuring out what they're going through. There's a character here played by actress Choi Sang-un. Her character's Marie. Their performances together as they grow in relationships is what kept me glued to it. It ends up being a sort of love story that you are rooting for, but you just don't know who's going to survive. So you're on the edge of your seat a lot of the time, because things are just not going our protagonist's way. Every time there seems to be something good, something else will happen to take that away. So it's very hard to watch, but the performances are fantastic. Now let me just say, it's a hard film to watch, but there's an outcome that you will be happy with, satisfied with somewhat, that you feel like you've earned. So between the wonderful cinematography and acting, that was a journey for me, the understated score, and the performances that you get in with here, that is a privilege to watch, and very, very heartfelt. Like I won't be surprised if many people in the comments say, yeah, I was bawling my eyes out in a few moments in this film. Yeah, I totally get that. There are moments where I had a gulp in my throat, that kind of, it's dusty in here moments. But I thought it was actually a really enjoyable film, even though it's dark. And I'm not one of those that kind of gravitates towards darker films, like heavy, depressing. But sometimes the stories that you get in those are worthwhile, especially if the ending is your reward. That you're like, yeah, after all that, there is some sort of light to look forward to. I'm not going to do spoilers. I'm not going to say it's the perfect ending. I'm just going to say it's worth it, sitting through all of that. and get into that end. It is a little bit long. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes, I think, or just under. And I felt the time a little bit, especially when it's like spending a lot of time in the things that go wrong. There's a bit of an action scene that's pretty heavy, but it's not an action film. It's a drama relationship in reality, like a day in the life of someone that is homeless, that's trying to find a life for themselves. And it's a love story, which I thought was a balance to have. That's a genuine love story that you are into. So let me know your thoughts about this film when you watch. I thought it was excellent. I'm going to give this 4.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
You got one.
Let me know your thoughts. Thanks so much for watching. But most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.